TikTok, the countdown to the Winter Olympics is on, and among the many standout athletes representing Team USA, soon-to-be Olympian, speed skater, and Washington, D.C.'s Conor McDermott-Mostowy. Conor joins us from Salt Lake City, Utah, where I imagine final preps and training are underway. Conor, thanks so much for agreeing to sit down with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and firstly, congratulations. It's a big deal. You made Team USA, certainly a major professional and a personal milestone for you as a long track skater. As I understand it, you first learned to skate when you were 2, and your dad, it was the person who got you onto the ice. Take me back if you remember anything at that time.
Yeah, I can't say I remember a lot, but yeah, he was the one who introduced me to skating. It was a big part of his life growing up. And so yeah, I started being on hockey skates when I was 2 years old, and then never really fell in love with hockey or figure skating. I've actually never even put on figure skates. But we were skating on the C&O Canal in DC when it froze over one winter, and some person went by in speed skates, and I was like, those skates are so cool. I want to try whatever that is.
Okay, well, the C&O, there's always a local connection here. Speed skating is more than likely not top of mind when somebody thinks of DC. Obviously, their mind goes to politics, including folks who call it home. So how did you first find an interest in speed skating itself? Why not hockey? You said you didn't even try on the figure skating skates. What was it about speed skating that stuck out?
Well, when I was a kid, I was never much of a team sport person, so hockey was kind of not even on my radar. And yeah, I mean, really what got me interested in speed skating was just like seeing somebody doing it on the canal and just wanting to try out new skates. And it just so happens that DC is like a mecca of speed skating in the United States, especially for short track. And so there were no shortage of clubs around the area for me to try out and then progress through.
And I imagine some of your initial training was at the Fort DuPont Ice Arena, right?
Yes, yeah, that's where I started.
Very nice. I know they just completed a major renovation there. Let me go back to this. How did your early experiences in DC on and off the ice shape your initial commitment to the sport?
That's a good question. I feel like DC is a city of very hardworking, go-getter people. And I think that is a skill set you have to have if you want to, especially become an Olympian. Like, you have to be very self-motivated and want to be the best at what you do. And there's so much excellence in DC and their surrounding area that there's no shortage of inspiration around you.
It's almost like a pipeline, the DMV, turning out Olympians. You're not only a standout athlete, you're literally a brainiac. I understand that you studied neuroscience in college. Were you on the ice one day thinking, I'd like to study the nervous system? How did you first find interest in that field? And then secondly, how did you balance such a demanding major with your elite training?
Yeah, I feel like much like how I got into speed skating, I kind of just like stumbled into neuroscience as well. I did not go into college being like, I'm gonna be a neuroscience major. I kind of just went in there without a plan, for a better word.
A lot of kids go into school without a plan. I get it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I feel like it's a great plan to have no plan. And so I knew I wanted to do like pre-med, so I just started taking classes, and eventually like a lot of the neuro ones really stuck out to me as like classes I'd be interested in and really amazing topics. So I started like going down that path. So yeah, kind of just like skating, I just like stumbled into my major as well.
Well, hopefully you didn't take offense to the brainiac term. I just thought it would be timely. Has your academic background, though, influenced your approach to training and competition and that mindset you have to put yourself in?
I can't say that like I have taken that much. I would say I erred on the side of like biology for neuroscience. I would like to say it's like 40% biology, 40% psychology, and like 20% other stuff. And I lean more on the biology route than the psychology route. So I feel like for skating, I probably should have like paid attention or taken more psychology classes. But I don't know, it's another aspect of my life that required a lot of time and discipline, especially while skating to complete. So
yeah, I can't imagine that juggling that. You've spoken about plans to go to medical school after your competitive career. You're a young guy, you're 26. I know Olympians at a young age already think about retirement. You know, about that long-term vision that you have, how does that influence the way that you train right now?
I've kind of just approached training, and throughout my life, I feel like I've had a lot of plans for things, and they often get derailed. So I've been pretty just like all in on skating now for a little bit, and then I'm like, I'm gonna deal with after skating plans after skating. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of prep that has to go in.
Sure.
But I still have some like classes I need to take that I never got to do in undergrad because I was traveling too much. But
I imagine that's
yeah,
not
for the
top
most
of mind
part,
right now when you've got the games immediately in front of you.
definitely not.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what do you think has been integral to your growth as an athlete over time, even people?
hmm I would say my approach to losing. I have like a saying that I like coined that was a loss is only a failure if you learn nothing from it. And I feel like that was like that framing loss has been so integral to my like success and progression in skating, especially growing up. Like I was not a prodigy, and I had a lot of coaches since then talk about how like I was not the person that they would have picked to go to the Olympics.
Really?
And yeah, yeah. But I think unlike a lot of people that have like tons of early success, I become resilient and work very hard. Um, and those are skills that like I think have propelled me to where I am now. Because a lot of people who like have tremendous early success then hit that wall and they've never experienced like a setback before, and that can be a difficult hurdle to overcome.
Sure.
But if you have a lot of experience losing, the wins are a much better.
Yeah, the highs feel a lot better, for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you missed the 2022 Olympics, was it because of illness? And if that is the case, how did that setback change you both personally and as an athlete?
Yeah, I did miss 2022, mostly yeah because of illness. I finished one spot off in two distances, and I had norovirus like the month before, leading into Olympic trials. And we did everything we could to like get me in as much shape as I could get back into after losing like 12 pounds in 2 days.
Wow.
But yeah, it just was not quite enough to get me a little bit at one spot higher I needed to be. And yeah, that was probably been like one of the most difficult experiences to overcome in my career. And yeah,
I bet that took a big mental toll on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're doing this 40 hours a week. This is now my like 16th or yeah, about 16th year. So it's like, yeah, there's tremendous amount of physical, financial, and like emotional investment in doing this sport. So having a setback like that was really hard to overcome. But I was like able to realize that I still love skating, and like I'm doing this because I love skating. And so like the Olympics is obviously the goal, but I was like, okay, if I still love skating, this doesn't feel like a burden to keep doing. So I'm like, I'm willing to like give it a go for 4 more years and see if I can do better than I did.
I only imagine that you not, competing in 2022 only motivated you even more.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, like, I'm not going to say that it was a good thing because I would still have liked to compete in 2022.
Sure.
But I like the position I'm going into the games in right now much better than I would have back then. Back then, I would have just been like excited to be a participant. And now I'm a much better skater, and I want to like go to the Olympics and do well.
So speaking of, what events are you hoping to top the podium?
The event that I won at Olympic trials was 1,000, and that's kind of my like bread and butter event. I And on our team, I'm on the sprint team, but I'm kind of like a fake sprinter where I'm a little
What is a
I'm a
fake
little too
sprinter? I feel like you're a sprinter, you're breaking a sweat, or you're not, right?
yeah, I mean, I'm a little too slow off the start, I would say, to be like a real sprinter.
Okay.
Um, but I'm very, very fast in the laps. So like I can kind of make up for it in the 1,000 meters and the 1,500 meters. But I would say the 1,000 is going to be like the main focus of the games. And then I've gave up some other distances this year to really try to focus on the team pursuit, which is one of the only team events in speed skating. And um, it's a it is a doozy of an event. So I decided to really focus on that this year. And right now I'm just the alternate for the other three guys on the team. But I was like, I need to be ready to race if it comes down to it.
I mean, listen, a lot of people would pay good money to, quote, just be an alternate, but you're still an Olympian. Let me ask you this. So you had said that you never thought of yourself as someone who would participate in team sports. Now that you are representing the United States of America, what changed and what's your posture to team sports these days?
I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of team sports now. Like I said, like the team pursuit is definitely one of the hardest events in speed skating. I'd maybe go so far as to say it is the hardest event. But it is also like singular in the fact that it is the team event, and that is the best motivation ever to give it your all, because it's not just you that you're letting down if you mess up or give up. Like, you're going to be let down on all of your teammates, and so those wins are even better because you're sharing them with other people.
Making your Olympic debut in Italy, how does that feel looking back to your start in DC?
It's gonna be a long way from home, but I'm very excited about it, and I know I have like an amazing community back in DC to cheer me on from there.
So the Olympics naturally bring out stories of perseverance. Professionally, personally, you've spoken publicly about being a gay athlete and emphasizing about why visibility matters. So I wanted to ask you, how has your journey shaped how you think about representation in sports?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I think I am the only out male speed skater on the World Cup stage, and will then be the Olympic stage. So yeah, I've like always approached being out as like, well, I mean, everyone kind of knew I was gay before I like publicly came out, but was not hidden well.
Listen, I had a very similar experience growing up, so carry on.
Yeah, but I always approached it as like kind of like a responsibility. I know that there are other gay athletes out there, and statistically, there's going to be quite a few more. And I feel like it is like a responsibility to, at least for me, since I'm comfortable with it being out, there's responsibility to everyone else to show that sports can be inclusive and be there as a resource if anyone needs.
So what has that response been from young athletes, possibly queer athletes, who see themselves reflected in your story? What have they shared with you? And you share with them?
I mean, those have been some of my like favorite messages ever over the last like 4 or 5 years that anyone has like really been paying attention to me at all. Yeah, those have been some of my like favorite messages I've received via email or Instagram or whatever, are from either young queer athletes or their parents. I've had a couple parents reach out to be like, how can I support my kid? And I don't know, that's like this, just like the sweetest. And I am grateful that people feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, even if you're not saying anything out loud, some passive positivity you're definitely sharing with folks and with kids. So when people back in DC, here all over the DMV, are following your journey to the Olympics and when you compete, what's one thing that you hope they take away about where you come from?
Oh man, DC is, yeah, I was kind of said earlier, it's like, it's just such like a bastion of amazing like Olympic talent. Like, obviously not being a state, we often get overlooked in many aspects. But DC has some incredible athletes, and the DMV in general has some incredible athletes that have come out of it. And so we should not be overlooked. There's great talent there.
What would Conor today say to young Conor on the ice as he's training?
Oh man, I have a few things I'd probably say. One would be prioritize your health more, because I've had a lot of setbacks in my career, and a lot of them have been health related. So it is sometimes better to take a couple days off, because those couple days are not going to hurt you as much as training through. And then also just to like keep doing what you're doing and working as hard as you are. And I think like a younger version of myself would not believe me if I said, if you keep doing that, you can go to the Olympics. But that's true.
I have one bonus question because I'm fascinated by it. And by the way, I'm interviewing your coach tomorrow, Ryan.
Nice.
What is the deal with him posting videos of skaters throwing up in these trash cans? What's behind all of that?
And I think there's a lot of things. I think that there is probably some pride on his part of that, like, we are willing to push ourselves that hard. I think there's some like education in it. Speed skating is a extremely high lactic acid sport, and this is what happens when you hit lactic acid levels that high. Like it's a really hard sport, and I feel like sometimes people, when we go out there to race, you often don't realize how difficult what we're doing is and the amount of work that went into it. And it takes a lot of, as he likes to call them, puke and rally days to be able to go out there and perform at the highest level and make it look easy while you do it.
Right. Well, that's the magic of it all. Well, I just had to ask you about it. I was certainly taken off guard when I saw it. Conor McDermott-Mostowy, thank you so much for your time. And I would say break a leg, but I feel like that's bad luck. So we'll be cheering you on, certainly. Thanks, Conor.
Thank you so much.